as soon as that stops wobbling. Anyway, John with you lads, how's it going? It is Saturday, the day after St. Patrick's Day, and for some reason I'm not dying with a hangover. Not a little bit. It must be the Irish in me. We're so used to it at this stage. Anyway, this is the final reveal of the Italeri Gulf War Special Edition T-55 Iraqi Army in 1/35th scale. It's kit number 6540. Note that, lads, because that's one you'll want to avoid unless you want to destroy it, if you know what I mean. I'll just put these things aside. Right, nasty habit I have. Anyway, what have I done to it? Before I get in and show you what I've done and the finished article itself, we'll just have a quick recap on the kit itself. If you remember, I had woeful problems with the suspension arms. They had sort of locator marks that when you sit them in, they don't locate, if you know what I mean. The hole for the locator mark was too much, so there was too much play in it. I didn't realise there was so much play in them, and I just glued them in and just left it. And when I went back and looked at it, they were well glued in, and there was some up and some down. So when you put the wheels on, they were horrible. They were really bad. They were very bad. And then to make things worse, the tracks themselves were rubbish as well. Even if you do buy this kit, say, and you get the wheels right, you're going to have problems with the tracks because they are quite bad. So without any further ado, I'll just pause this and put the finished article in front of you. So hang on a sec. Right, lads, there she is in all her burnt out and destroyed loveliness, shall we say. So I'll just give her a little spin on the twirly-whirly so you can get a look at how it's turned out from all angles, shall we say. So it's coming around the back. I'm thrilled to bits with how it came out. Really am. It made a bad kit turn into a great kit. Well, turn into a nice project, shall we say, a great project. It would have been a shame to do that with a lovely, say, a nice, perfectly renditioned copy of, you know, a trumpeter kit or God forbid, a dragon kit or something that you're going to spend an awful lot of money on, and then do that to it, not knowing what that's going to turn out like, if you know what I mean, because that was all experimental. Well, not all experimental, but quite a lot of it was. We'll just zoom slightly out now so you can get a kind of a, oop, that's in, John, so we can get a kind of an overall view of it while I talk about it. Right, what did I use? What was used in the kit itself? Right, as I said, we built the kit. I primed it in UMP, Ultimate Modeling Products, grey primer. Used the last of my primer on the 25 pounder, but I had this already done previous to that. Then coated it in the Hull Red, Tamiya's Hull Red. Gave it two good liberal coats then of cheap hairspray. The cheapest I could find. I've had it now for some time, so I've been using it for a lot of, you know, trying out the chipping techniques. I did it on a couple of vehicles now at this point in time. So basically what I did was I give it two liberal coats of that, give it a nice bit of drying time between coats, let it bed into it. Then put on the XF60, I think it is, dark yellow Tamiya. And then did, you know, any little bits of detail painting that had to be done. There was very few, very little. Just to say the gun. And that was really it. There was one or two other bits and pieces that got highlighted, but they got kind of destroyed afterwards with, you know, with various things added and stuff. So then I did the chipping with, you know, the usual water with the chipping. I got areas then like here and along the edge here. If I just zoom in now, You can see that a little bit better what I'm talking about with the chipping. If you look here at the top of the turret, that's nicely chipped there, and we've got big chips down there. Now that chips it down to the thing, and at that stage then it looks quite horrible because it's that yellow is. Yeah. If you don't dab off the water, the excess water, when you're doing the hairspray chipping method, and only chip off in small areas, nothing large, and leave it, the water gets in under the paint and starts to make it wrinkle and crack like paint would. You know, old paint, it does kind of wrinkle and crack. And in some areas then it kind of like blisters, like as if the heat got in underneath it and it blisters it up, which was brilliant because it's the effect that I wanted. So when that was done then, I gave it a good wash with Agrax Earthshade from Citadel. Really dirtied it up. Then used a little bit of thinners to streak that down, you know, to tone it down a bit because it was a bit too dark, but still leaving that hue, if you know what I mean, that, you know, that tint. Kind of used it as more as a tint rather than a wash. I can't remember the name of it. A filter, that's it. Lightened it right off. I did the same then with some Nuln oil, and I used UMP rust pigments in some areas, let them dry in, darken it off then with the Nuln oil and stuff. Then I made a couple of sludgy washes with some pastels, just small ones, mostly in kind of browns and things like that. I did one in yellow as well, and that gave it the overall wash. We gave it that kind of, as one of the people commented on it, a nice baked look. So it looks well baked as well as burnt. Then I used NATO Black, I'm stuttery there, and did all the smoke damage on it around here. All that smoke damage was done with NATO Black. I used soft tone from Army Painter. It's an ink. Wet that area where the black was and used some black pastel powder and dabbed it onto it. The soft tone acted then as a sort of a setting agent, so when that dried in, it dried in the soot, the black soot marks in around it. So if you look here at the area where, I'll zoom in now here, where the damage is done, you can see the soot, and there's ash there as well. I'll tell you what the ash is in a minute, but you can see the black is the soot. Now that grey ash, instead of using pigments to get that nice lovely grey ash, unfortunately I have a bad habit, I'm a smoker, and one of the byproducts of smoking is ash. And I said, what better to use for ash than ash? So I used ash. So that's ash, okay? And I'm not saying ash anymore. So that's what that is, fag ash, cigarette ash, whatever you want to call it. My American people, fag in Ireland and England means a cigarette, not what you think, not what you call it. There's someone knocking the door and the dog goes mental every time. You'll hear people roaring at him now constantly. Right, the base, it's my usual, shall I say, the ones I'm starting to use lately, because they're only £1. It's a little kid's chalkboard, and it's perfect size. It's A2 size, or A4 size, should I say, sorry. I built up around here. See where it's built up and the tank is sort of dug in around. I built that up with some styrofoam. I couldn't get that builder stuff that you can carve into nicely. you mean it's available? I can get it, but I got to do a fair bit of travelling to get to it, and I don't have transport myself. And getting it home and stuff like that is just too awkward. So I just use an ordinary bit of styrofoam, put it into place. PVA glued it into place and everything else, and there was loads of little gaps and things. And I was watching a video from Cohen scale modelling, and he was doing roughly something similar, but he used sort of a paper mache method to cover over those holes, so you weren't filling fillers. So I said, oh yeah, I'll use that. So I just coated it in with some ordinary kitchen roll, and basically not flooded it, but give it a nice good wet coat of PVA. When the PVA started to get tacky, then I just had my light sifted sand and stuck it to it. Then put the tank into place, and then the areas then where the tank sort of sat up to, built up around with das clay, and did the same thing, covered it with PVA and then the sand. The broken tracks here were sort of rusted up, put into place, and then this area here then was painted with the NATO black. I think it was about 8 psi I was using, and it came on perfect. I could really control where I wanted the thing to go, but it took ages because it was only 8 psi. I was only barely blowing it out, but I'm using a cheap Chinese airbrush, so therefore it doesn't split or anything like that. It sprays perfectly, but the needles, they're not really that great for precise work. And I just lowered the pressure right down to something that you wouldn't normally use. I think it was about 8 or 9 psi, and I got that perfectly. Like I said, it took a little bit of time, but I got it where I wanted it. That's basically it then. Just kind of left it at that. Oh yeah, I used graphite pencil to bring up the shiny bits there for the where metal got kind of shown through. Touched up on the rust spots with it's the stuff here. I have to move everything now to video find it, because I should have prepared all this earlier. Give me 2 seconds now, because I can't even remember what it's called. Here we are. There's that stuff. A bit of this. Right. I purchased this stuff recently enough, and it's very good. And what it is it's Citadel from their technical range, and it's called Typhus Corrosion. Now it's very dark brown, and it's gritty. It's kind of a texture paint, and it's quite gritty. Dabbed a little bit of that into each of the areas where it was rubbed off, and put a little drop of that onto it as well. That's the ultimate rust wash, which is a light colour. When it dried in, like Switcher calls them, the happy little accidents, it kind of made about 4 or 5 different colours from the 3 that were originally there, if you know what I mean. You had the base colour from the whole red. There was the Typhus Corrosion and the ultimate wash. But I got other colours that are not in those, and the brightness of the ultimate wash didn't come through at all. But you can see where it really shaded the areas. So that's an absolute fabulous stuff. I love the effect up here on the turret, top of the turret itself, the rusting up there. It came out absolutely fabulous. Not over rusted, and it looks new, because it's, when a thing goes up in flames like that, you get stuff, it's called flash rust. It's where any moisture at all is attracted to the metal when the metal is hot. And when the metal cools down, it rusts. It would literally rust overnight, if you know what I mean. It would literally rust overnight, even in the driest and arid conditions. But that's flash rust, it's called. It's formed by heat as opposed to moisture, but it needs moisture as well. So that's basically my final reveal of the Iraqi army T-55 from Italeri, and that's it. If you've any questions, comments, likes, dislikes, stick them in the comments box below. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe. I'd like that. Thank you very much. And if you already have subscribed, don't forget to stick a like on. Thumbs up. Just hit the old thumbs up button at the bottom of the thing there, where the thumbs up button is. Right. Anyway, catch up in the next one, lads. John Moore signing off. Oh yeah, don't forget my little thing. Buy a kit, build it, enjoy it. Okay? Catch you up next time, lads. Stay safe. Turn off you.